and welcome everyone to another installment of the Comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. It's Sunday night, Matt. We're back again with all of our friends here on both Twitch and YouTube. We're continuing to go strong with the simulcasting, and a lot of people are really enjoying it.
They really are, yeah. We get a lot of people every week, and it's great to see.
Some people are even donating and helping the show directly that way. I know, donating on YouTube is a little easier than on Twitch and on other things, so, that's always good, and that's always a plus.
Absolutely.
So what's your weekend been like, Matt?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I've been watching a lot of movies. Like, this week had, like, a lot of movies come out. Not just, like, Black Widow, which we'll talk about later, but we had, like, the second Fear Street film.
Oh, yes, a lot of people are talking about that. I finally took notice, like, oh, maybe I should get into this.
Oh, they're fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic films. There's the last one comes out this Friday. But yeah, they're so good. They're such refreshing horror films, yet they're refreshing, yet they do a lot of tropes, but they're aware of those tropes.
Right.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
That's good. I might have to check that one out. It's been a while since I've had like a really good horror movie. I had been putting it off for a while because I'd been busy and lethargic and everything there, but I finally started season 2 of I Think You Should Leave Now, like basically right before we started.
Yep.
Man, the manic, just insane energy.
It's great, isn't it?
It really is, and it's just like there's nothing like this. And yet they gave them a season 2. Like, this is the sort of thing where it's like, they probably made season 1 think this is just going to be a weird cult item from a bunch of former Saturday Night Live people who never really took off the way they thought they would. But it's like, no, let's do a second season. Let's make it bigger and stranger and just more like from the mouth of a madman.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I kind of want to keep comparing it to like Tim and Eric. Except it kind of goes like a little bit further than that.
It's true.
It's just like utter chaos.
Now, it's funny too, because, stuff like Tim and Eric never really appealed to me that much. Like, don't get me wrong. I respect the creativity that goes into it, and I know they have a lot of fans and everything. I like this more than Tim and Eric.
Oh, yeah, I do as well.
I think it's just like, just the presentation of it all.
Yeah.
And the fact that, Robbins himself is kind of just like a likable weirdo everyman in a weird way.
Yeah.
He's got like this sad puppy dog, hangdog expression, and like you want to root for him even when he's being an absolute weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that says about me, but there's something about it.
Yeah. Thank you, A. Carter, for the donation.
Hey, I didn't see that. Yeah, much appreciated. Looking forward to your thoughts on Black Widow. Keep up the good work. Yes, we will be giving our thoughts on Black Widow, A. Carter. In fact, for the first time in like 2 years, we're actually going to have like a full-on spoiler cast at the end of the show. It's been so long because there hasn't been new movies.
For a Marvel movie, yeah.
Holy shit. Again, like I put them like, are we really going to do that? Are we really doing that? Is it really time? I guess we're going to do it again next month, too, because The Suicide Squad comes out both in theaters and on demand.
Yep, and then the month after that with Shang-Chi.
True enough. Yeah, I guess we will get back into it. Because, yeah, I guess theaters in the States are opening up now, so movies are more viable and everything. I think if all goes well, I might be able to get my second vax in the next little bit. But even then, I don't know if I feel good enough to go to the movies yet, or if even the movies in my theater or in my area are going to be opening up. And everything, because they still might not be able to. It's weird times we still live in when you're not in America.
Yeah. I'm no closer to getting my vaccination. We just had it's sad. Like we had like another COVID death, and I'm like, oh my god, that's sad. But it's like the first death we've had in 10 months.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, that's pretty good. It's still sad someone died, but that's pretty fucking good if it was one death in the last 10 months.
Yeah, Australia looked so much far ahead than everyone else, but I guess we got these variants and shit now, so they're just like rushing to try and get as many people vaccinated. I know for me, I got the Pfizer, and then they're like, okay, so you can wait for another Pfizer if you want, or you can get the Moderna. They're both the same like R&D sort of thing, so you can actually mix and match these if you want. And I'm like, well, I kind of want to get Pfizer for completion's sake. I'm a nerd and I need to have the whole set and everything. I hate to have incomplete sets.
And it's like, as well, it's like, if you get like 2 different ones, that means you're getting like two different like kill orders from different nations.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, one from the Russians, one from the Chinese.
Yeah, I don't want to mess myself up in that regard. Also, thank you, the Captain Coon. No spoiler cast for Snake Eyes in 2 weeks. It's funny. I just saw the trailer for Snake Eyes the other day, and I saw it completely by accident. It was a YouTube ad, and I saw the dude from that show Warrior that I like so much. And I'm like,
he's
oh wow,
Storm Shadow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, is he in another Triad movie? Damn, this looks cool. This looks so awesome. They're fighting and they're going to Japan and everything. I'm like, wait a minute. The mask, the story. Is this a G.I. Joe? Fuck me, this is a G.I. Joe movie. What?
Is that coming out on streaming? I know it's like being advertised in cinemas, but is that coming to a streaming service?
It's so hard to tell anymore. I have no clue where anything goes now.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it drives me crazy every time I see a movie. I'm like, oh, that looks good. And then I need to look online. Like, is this coming to a streaming? Is this coming to a theater? Like, what's that one there from that former College Humor guy? Ironically, with one of the actors from I Think You Should Leave Now, Werewolves Within.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that looks cool. I'd like to watch that. Is that coming to a streaming? Not yet. Seems to be the thing that this is like one of those ones that actually went to a real theater.
Hey, maybe now that like Black Widow earned like 60 million on like Disney Plus subscriptions and like Premiere Access, maybe all these films will suddenly start coming to streaming a bit more.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, obviously that's, one of the stories we were going to tackle eventually, but, Black Widow defied all expectations and actually made a shit ton of money. It's almost as if what we've been saying was true, Matt, for like a year and some change, and that is like, nah, man, we got an Avengers movie. We can just sit on it till whenever.
It's been hilarious as well over the weekend, like watching like film snobs just absolutely lose their shit over this.
Oh, for sure.
Like not just for the fact that it's like a Marvel movie, doing it, but just for the fact that it's something other than like Christopher Nolan, who did, like where like remember when he said he was gonna save cinema with Tenet. And it bombed fucking horribly.
Again, I think they're mad at it, and I cannot blame them for being mad because this means that they'll always be wrong whenever someone says, yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Disney are basically holding up the entire theater thing and are holding up basically all of movies.
And as well as like the streaming service, like the Premiere Access getting 60 million, that's impressive. And like they're mad at that as well.
In one fell swoop, it proved everything a lot of, the more annoying film snobs out there were saying completely wrong.
Yeah. Well, as well as that, it earned 60 million on that and then earned like 90 or something at like the cinemas. So there's there's room for both,
There is, which, man, that's the most interesting thing. The Black Widow effect, let's coin that term right now. What do we think that's going to mean for movies moving forward? Because, again, not everyone is going to get to be vaxxed the same way the States is.
Yeah.
People are still going to have to wear masks and be afraid of variants and everything. Like, is this just the way movies are going to be now?
I don't think forever, but, like, for a period of time, I think so.
Because, as we've seen, it can work.
Yeah, and this could also just open the gate to like smaller movies doing like the whole streaming and theater release, and they could potentially make more money that way.
Shit, if the next big like Sundance, Toronto Film Festival thing, if they gave me the option to see a bunch of those digitally, I would.
Yeah.
I absolutely would, where it's like, yeah, this one's got a lot of good buzz. You should check it out.
Mm-hmm. Weren't they going to do that like last year or something?
I think so. I don't know if they actually went through with it or if it was for journalists, they had the option.
Yeah.
Because I knew if that was the case, I'm like, well, shit, let me find an accredited film critic in my area so I can go to their house and be like, hey, man, can I watch these over your shoulder? Yeah, as the chat's saying, too, there was a lot of surprise movies. Yeah, Fast and the Furious 9 was another big deal. Again, who thought Fast and the Furious would also be a savior of the movie theaters? And that Demon Slayer movie apparently also did quite good worldwide.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was doing really well, I think, last year, like, when it like, originally released in, like, Japan and everything. It was, like, just, like, breaking all the records and everything.
Apparently people love that Demon Slayer kid so much, they're willing to risk life and limb to go and see his next big adventure on a train, I think. I watched the Honest trailer for that, and I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't watched frame 1 of this Demon Slayer thing. I just know it exists and that I could watch it on Netflix if I want. And I'm like, oh, so that's what it's about, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
It looks cool. It's like, yeah, if I had more time and energy for anime, I'm sure I'd probably enjoy this the same way I enjoyed all those other shonen-y things.
Yeah.
That's basically what the Honest trailer said. Hey, have you liked a shonen anime in your life before? Yes, then you'll probably like this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's like basic premise of a shonen anime, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's got demons in it.
Yeah, and someone who slays them.
Yeah, I like it. It's a winning combination, if you ask me. I guess with that, we can hop over into the actual news from this week. And don't worry, everyone, we will cycle back to Black Widow because that will be the final half of the show where we'll just talk that up.
Yeah.
All right, our first big news story this week. Ooh, I was so excited to hear this. Green Arrow, Aquaman, two beloved heroes who don't have a book right now, but they will be getting a brand new miniseries. Green Arrow, Aquaman, Deep Targets from Brandon Thomas, the writer, and is he the artist too of Excellent? I don't know, but big indie guy is going to be doing a hardware soon, and we're getting a miniseries, or I guess maxi series because it's 7 issues.
Yeah, Brandon Thomas is all over DC at the moment. He's got that Mr. Miracle book.
Oh,
he's done like a bunch of Infinite Frontier stuff.
He's
done this Future State, yeah.
The new hardware book, which also looks great, by the way. I think this is his year. Like every so often, a writer has a year where they really blow up. Like Philip Kennedy Johnson had his like earlier on, and we're going to be talking about him later. But yeah, I think this is Brandon Thomas's year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, this cover, very fun. It's Arthur and Ollie, but they've traded costumes for some reason.
Well, not really. It's just I think Green Arrow's like decked out in like Atlantean armor.
Yeah.
Is all that's happening, and Green Arrow's like got green now. Or he's like not orange or anything. He's just like fully green.
Yeah, the costume looks a little different now and everything too. I like the design. I think Green Arrow was due for a redesign at some point. Honestly, The suit looks like they took a couple nods from Injustice. He looks a little bit more Injustice-y.
A little bit, yeah.
Which is not a bad design if you're gonna get a design from anywhere. This is good. If Aquaman and Green Arrow can't have books right now, why can't they have a miniseries?
Exactly, and I kind of felt like it was going to go there anyway, or like at least one of them was going to get a miniseries because, as you said, they both don't have a book, and now we got like the best of both of those where they're both in one series.
I mean, shit. What is it? Black Manta and Aqualad are both getting miniseries, both by Brandon Thompson, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that he's writing both of them.
No, okay, yeah, no, he's not writing the Calder one, but he is writing the Black Manta one.
Yeah, maybe that's related to this.
Makes me think it is now, and I'm like, well, shit, I didn't think I was going to pick those books up, but now I feel like maybe I should.
Yeah.
They were pretty scarce on details about what the story is, yet they just, promised that they would throw down and team up, so every superhero team up ever.
Pretty much, yeah.
Every superhero team up ever. Again, to, Aquaman, Green Arrow, Deep Targets, I feel like that has to be even just the slightest little nudge to Green Lantern, Green Arrow, hard traveling heroes.
Probably.
Which I wonder, what things will they debate about? What issues will they tackle, Arthur and Ollie together? These two white blonde men.
Will Oliver have like an underwater punching glove, boxing glove arrow?
Pretty please. I would like that so much. Did you read that Green Arrow 80th anniversary? They gave another origin to the boxing glove arrow that I quite enjoyed.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny, where it's like, yeah, it was one of Wild Cat's boxing gloves that he took and used. You can't fight evil from 20 feet away, Green Arrow. Yes, I can, actually. Very well. It's kind of my thing, actually. But yeah, this looks good. Super excited for this. Sign me the hell up.
Yeah, I'm very excited. When's it coming out?
Soon, but not like so soon. I think like 3-4 months from now.
Yeah, so like October, November.
Yeah, that thereabouts.
Cool.
Now our next topic also involves a brand new DC book, and this one was really unexpected, but maybe not so unexpected. Because, the DC likes to keep this guy in work, especially because his big Hollywood aspirations seemingly didn't work out. I'm talking about Tom King, who's got a new series which will see him resurrect the Human Target.
Yeah, Christopher Chance. He's gonna get a miniseries where he's depressed.
Probably. But honestly, when I look at this, I'm like, fucking, yeah, this is a no-brainer, actually. I don't know if you know this, Matt, but Tom King was in the CIA.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense.
And
Which has me
Chance...
worried, though, because he's just got to make Christopher Chance him, like he does with every one of his fucking characters.
Yeah, well, Christopher Chance is kind of a secret agent, too. And again, this whole cover here not only reminds me a lot of James Bond, but also reminds me of Grayson, which even I sometimes forget that Tom King actually co-wrote. So if we can see Tom King actually return to the fun kind of Tom King that we saw in Grayson, I'll be interested.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if we'll see...
It would be cool though. It would be really cool if he did that.
Yeah, didn't Human Target have a TV show? Was that like accurate?
Yes, he had a TV show. He had a TV show, and then I think the same guy appeared on Arrow.
Oh, really?
I know Christopher Chance was on Arrow.
I know very little about the Human Target, actually. What's his deal?
Like A-Team sort of stuff.
Oh,
like helps people. Yeah.
If you can find him, you can hire.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's like a consultant bodyguard type guy who does like, you know, like MacGyver sort of stuff.
Yeah, he definitely feels like a more old-timey sort of creation. Is he like a throwback to something, or is he like a much older hero?
Oh, he's a much older hero. He had like books in like the not 60s, like 80s and stuff. I think maybe the 70s maybe as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because, yeah, he definitely seems like a bit of a throwback. Also, too, it's going to be short by the looks of it, too. So, also, again, using Tom King to the best of his abilities. Hey, write us something cool, concise, and to the point, and don't take forever.
It seems like he's just exclusively Black Label now. Like, they've completely removed him from, like, the actual DC continuity. Like, he's still got that Supergirl book, which isn't Black Label, but kind of outside continuity, you know. I wonder if that's because of Heroes in Crisis.
Well, we let you play around with the continuity there, Tom, and now what is it? Joshua Williamson literally has to change everything.
Yeah, now we're like fixing everything about your book. The whole point of the Flash book at the moment is fixing what you did.
I was gonna say, like, wasn't there like a Flash panel that was making the rounds from the newest issue where it's Wally literally going back to Heroes in Crisis and being like, "Not my fault. It's not my fault anymore. Yeah. We fixed it."
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. That's like the third or fourth time they tried to fix it. From like, oh, Wally didn't do it. It was Thawne that whispered in his ear and did it. Yeah. Well, okay, now he really didn't do it because of other reasons. So that's pretty good. NR saying his deal is he substitutes people marked for murder. Okay, that's a pretty cool premise.
Yeah, very like MacGyver-y sort of stuff.
Yeah. I like that. And again, that's why he's the human target, because he puts himself in harm's way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not bad. Alrighty then, what else do we got going on here? Ooh, the trailer dropped this week. I think it's going to be the final trailer for Marvel's What If, their big new animated thing they're going to be doing on the app in like a couple months or so.
Next month. Exactly a month from yesterday, I think.
Man, they do not slow down between Bad Batch, Loki, and now this.
Oh yeah, it's never ending now. I think we're going to get something new every month.
I'm down for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about it. This looks cool. We kind of got like more of an insight into a bunch of the different stories we're seeing there. They start big by recreating the convoy scene from Iron Man. Only wait, Tony doesn't get blown up because fucking Killmonger saves him.
That'll be a fun one. What if Killmonger was friends with Tony Stark instead of Rhodey, I guess?
Or like just what if Tony didn't get blown up in the desert, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Is he going to build an Iron Man suit for Killmonger?
Maybe. It makes a lot of sense, too, because it's like, yeah, Killmonger was a mercenary, so he would have been active in the desert around that time.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. We also see, what is it, like Wakandans versus Asgardians at some point in a story. I'm like, ooh, that looks cool. The Marvel Zombies, obviously, that they keep showing.
Yep. Captain Carter.
Which is super cool. And like her like iron giant big guy and rusty Iron Man, which I'm guessing is Howard Stark building a suit.
It's Howard building the suit, but it's pre-serum Steve Rogers piloting it.
Oh, fun.
So it's like a little scrawny guy inside.
There's some like real blink and you'll miss it ones. Like apparently there's Spider-Man, but he's Sorcerer Supreme with like Doctor Strange's cape and everything.
Yeah, he's on the poster. He looks great.
What if
There was Ultron with the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, what if the Guardians of the Galaxy saved New York from the Chitauri?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that one. Then there's also what if Star-Lord was T'Challa?
Yeah, which you have to wonder, is that one connected to the Asgardians versus Wakandan
Well, I
storyline?
think they're all sort of connected because I don't we saw in like leaked pictures that the team is like called the Guardians of the Multiverse, and it's like Captain
Oh.
Carter, Star-Lord, a party Thor, all these different characters joining together.
Now, is that going to be part of an overarching story, or is that just going to be like the final stinger at the end?
As I theorize, I think this when this is coming, it's coming after Loki. I think this is like spinning out of Loki. Like whatever happens in that last episode is going to allow this stuff to happen.
Right. Because Loki, when we last left him, was on his way to meet the God of Time, to meet whoever the hell is pulling the strings on all of this.
Meet the Wizard of Oz. Yeah,
literally. Who do we think it is? Because like
it's
the
Kang.
obvious answer,
It's Kang. It has to be Kang.
It has to be? Because up until now, they've like gone out of their way to not do big movie villains. Well, except for Elaine, but that's a whole other thing.
It has to be Kang.
I mean, yes, it has to be. It's either Kang or it's Old Man Loki.
Yeah, or a Loki. Yeah,
it's a Loki because I figure that's the most obvious. Or it's like, yeah, Loki, you've been chasing yourself this whole time, idiot.
Yeah, I see people saying it might be Mobius.
Mobius, that would be funny too, where it's like, yeah, we got Owen Wilson here and he's actually a bad guy. I thought it was funny, and Kurt on Twitter said the same thing. What if it's Miss Minutes?
Yeah. Well, again, they like a couple of weeks ago they kept saying, "Oh, Miss Minutes has a really important role in this," and I think Tara Strong was bigging her up, and she's like barely been in it. Which, if it is her, it'd be kind of disappointing because, like, yeah, she's barely been in it. Like, she's not really a character, really.
I mean, classic, mystery writing 101. It's always the character who is connected to everything, but has been in there for the smallest amount of time. Just long enough so you forget them. Honestly, I'm fine if Tara Strong, Canadian voice actress, entrepreneur, was the God of Time. I'm fine with that.
See, with that last episode, though, it has to be Kang just because, like, there were so many references to Kang in that last episode with the Quang Tower, the Living Tribunal heads, all this sort of stuff.
The Thanos copter, Throg.
Yeah.
Which apparently Throg was actually voiced by Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Or not Chris Evans,
Hemsworth.
Hemsworth, yeah.
Yeah, well, they Chris had Hemsworth. More, apparently. They filmed, like, a whole scene of, like when in that first episode where he's, like, Loki was watching, like, his life, there was, like, apparently a scene in there where he gets beaten up by Throg.
Oh, that's
they
funny.
Like, shot it and everything, but then they cut it out.
I loved all the multiple Lokis there, and that President Vote Loki was only in there for, like, a minute.
Yeah, he gets his hand bitten off by a crocodile.
He's all over the trailers, but he actually gets beaten quite quickly and easily. I'm like, oh, that's fun. That's fun. There's a lot to enjoy in this. The weirder Loki gets, and just the more characters they throw at it, the better I actually think the show gets. Where they're just like, fuck it, let's just make this weird. This is just Doctor Who. We're just doing Doctor Who.
Yeah, let's get like a well-respected British actor who's been working for 40 plus years in the original Loki costume, and it not like be ridiculous or anything.
No, again, that guy's such a respected ass actor, you forget he's wearing a goddamn Halloween costume.
And he has probably the best scene in the episode.
He really does. Goddamn. Loki's tight. Also, while we're talking Disney app shows, Bad Batch was tight this week too, because it's just a Hera Rebels origin
It's just
story.
a Rebels episode.
It's just, hey guys, we had this fun Rebels script sitting around we never got to do. Oh, well, we can do it now probably.
Yeah, I like that show can do that sort of stuff. That's cool.
Same. And they also kind of promised, like, hey, we'll come back to this at some point because we established Hera, we established Caleb Dune, so why not?
Well, yeah, again, and as well, we need of course need another episode to explain how Chopper is a war criminal and killed millions of people.
Killed way more people than any rebel. His body count is sky high. There is so much red in Chopper's ledger. Actually, hey, let's talk about that now that we have you here, or now that I have you here, because this is something I've noted while watching it, but didn't have anyone to talk about it with. What is up with the fact that in Bad Batch, the last 2 episodes at least, they're doing way more shoot to stun instead of shoot to kill?
I think it's like because they still see, or they know the clones aren't doing this like willingly. It's the chip in their head, so they know that it's like, oh well, they're not bad, guys, and they're still their brothers and everything. So
True enough.
just sort of
Because
stun them.
Because you compare these episodes to the early Rebels, and the Rebels are like kill,
Yeah.
kill, kill, never stop.
Yeah. Well, again, by the time it's Rebels, they're stormtroopers. They're like just
True enough.
actual people who want to join the Empire to fucking kill people.
And also, too, I guess the point of being like a super well-trained elite clone unit is, also knowing when not to like over-engage and when not to like turn shit up too high.
Yeah, that could. Yeah, killing them might like bring more heat on them or something.
Yeah, where Rebels, it's all about like, hey, we got rebel tactics, which is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's retconning Rebels in any way, Tevia.
Yes,
nothing suggests in that episode that anything was being retconned.
Yes, I saw that too. I wasn't going to pay attention to that comment. I'm just like, I think Tevia's forgetting what words mean again. But yeah, so there's your Marvel What If there, everyone. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks really cool, actually.
Yeah, and as well, it's like we're going to get 1 episode a week as well. So that's going to like, I don't know how many episodes there are.
I'm gonna say 8 because that's usually the magic number for these.
I'll say 8, but it's like animated, so like they could probably get like a couple more episodes out of it.
Here's the thing: is it going to be the classic 22 like minute length that these things usually are and are written for, or because this is a crazy app, it could be as long or as short as we want it to be?
I imagine it's going to be about 20 odd minutes, like a Bad Batch episode.
Yeah, because like so far, all these other shows, you kind of can't set your watch to it. It's just like, meh, we're doing it for an app. We don't got to put commercials in. We can make it as long or as short as we want it to be.
Yeah.
Now, moving on from Marvel news to a little bit more DC news, a kind of unexpected story. It's the big 25th anniversary of the famous Batman story, Long Halloween, Matt.
Yeah.
Fun, too, how we coincided it right with the release of the first part of that Long Halloween movie. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. It's perfectly all right, but it can't touch the comic, and that's a shame. I would say that even the 2 Dark Knight 2-parters were better. Like some stuff it nails, like what is it? The scene with Calendar Man. That's really good.
Yeah, that was really good. I really enjoyed that part.
The scene with the money is really good. I feel like when they were making that movie, they're like, ooh, if we can just nail these 3 or 4 scenes, then we'll nail the comic. And it's like, no. It was kind of weird, too. Did you notice that there's, like, no score for big chunks of the movie?
Yeah, it's like incomplete. Because it's like, there's scenes where it's like, okay, there should be, like, some score here. Like, I know, some little menacing sounds or something. But it's like, no, it's just characters talking.
Yeah, I'm like, did I get an unfinished work print of the movie? I guess their idea was like, well, shit, we can't think of anything, good enough to match the comic material, so we'll just put nothing in here.
It was probably that, probably COVID, and probably, we don't have the money.
Such a shame, where it's like, geez, guys, come on, recycle a soundtrack from one of these old movies, and people probably wouldn't even notice.
Oh, no, you could have used, like, I don't know, Gotham by Gaslight's soundtrack or something, another Batman movie soundtrack, and no one would notice.
Yeah. Also, they kind of changed the ending in a big way, and there's a couple characters like what is it, Falcone's daughter, that's not in this, but she is gonna be in the sequel. They
changed some stuff, and like I'm kind of fine with it because it's not huge changes like Gotham by Gaslight or like Hush, where it's like changes the whole thing.
Yeah, it seems like they're actually trying to keep the mystery intact, which I appreciate. Even if that means they have to create like a new big action-packed finale for the boat, which wasn't in the comic, because it's like, well, shit, this is where we got to end it, so we need to have something extra here.
Yeah, that's what happens when you split movies in 2.
Yeah, we also lose like several months. We lose Valentine's Day and April Fool's Day and all this other stuff. And I'm like, shit, you know what? This shouldn't have been a movie. This should have been a series. This should have been an animated, like, 6-part series.
Yeah. I'm surprised they actually haven't done something like that. You
That would
know,
have been so much
because they
better.
always do like these like Justice League actions and everything. It's like, why
Mm-hmm.
not do like an actual like book?
Adapt a whole book.
Yeah, into like a 6-part series or something.
It would be very smart. I mean, come on. I mean, that's basically what Marvel is doing now with
Yeah,
theirs things. Like they
yeah,
might as well just be adaptations of books.
exactly.
But yes, I got off topic on that. So yeah, to celebrate the big 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary of Batman: The Long Halloween and the movie, they got Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale back together to do a brand new special issue, Batman: The Long Halloween Special, original title, I know.
Cool. I don't think it was needed at all. And this has been written
No.
by present day Jeff Loeb and drawn by present day Tim Sale.
Yeah.
Who Tim Sale recently, like his art recently has been like shocking.
Yeah, both guys have seemingly been riding their early success for a long time. Also, weren't we all mad at Jeff Loeb a
Yeah.
while ago because of the role he played on television and him being like, I don't want to cast no Asians?
Yeah, yeah.
Weren't we all really mad at him about that? And now DC's like, well, he did that at the other guys. He can come back here and write a Batman story because money, money, money.
Yeah, Batman, Batman, Batman. It'll sell.
Also, the thing in the solicitation talking about this story like scared the hell out of me. Where they're like, "Oh, it was the greatest mystery in all of Batman's," and it continues in the special. Like, no, it doesn't. No, it was done.
No, it
We
finished
know who
there.
did it.
We saw the ending on that, you know, in that book. It had an
Yeah,
ending.
that's not how mysteries work, guys. You can't solve the mystery and then keep going 25 years later. That's not how it works. Unless you do something really stupid and go back and change the ending, which
Yeah.
I really hope you don't fucking do.
Oh god.
Or go back and be like, oh, there's a copycat killer now. There's a copycat holiday on the loose. And I'm like, oh, well, that's just friggin' like lame. And also, you kind of did that in the main story.
Yeah.
A lot of this just feels like, a lot of this feels like greed and like corporately motivated synergy where it's like, well, we need another Batman: The Long Halloween.
Yeah, and as well, it's like being Batman, this and connected to Long Halloween, this will probably end up being successful, like in sales wise.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if like we get other like adaptations of Batman stories in like animated form, and they're like, oh well, we'll do a special, and it'll continue the story.
Also, didn't you already do a sequel to The Long Halloween, and was it also not nearly as good?
Yeah, yeah. No one talks about that.
No one does talk about the sequel they did to it, because everything in comics eventually gets a sequel, even if it doesn't need it.
Yeah, yeah.
This looks to be one of those things that I can safely ignore. Also, thank you for the cheers, Tevia.
Yeah.
So I can probably stir away from that.
Yeah.
Tevia also asking any opinion on the 10-year anniversary of the New 52. I mean, we were there.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
I mean,
this is New 52. It was pretty terrible.
there was good books. There was a lot of shit too. I mean, I liked Green Arrow from Lemire. We got, Snyder on Batman. I mean, Batman seemed like the most bulletproof thing for the longest time, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and everything else like kind of fell by the wayside. No one gave a shit about anything else.
I mean, Johns did Aquaman for a little bit, and that was pretty solid.
Yeah,
I think,
came on to Superman at the end, but by then it was kind of too late.
it was its own thing. I mean, Throne of Atlantis was, a pretty good event for its time, but then also pretty quickly forgotten in one of the worst eras of the Justice League.
Oh, yeah.
James Tynan asked an interesting question where he's like, as far as you fans are concerned, when did the New 52 actually end? And he gave like several choices.
Yeah? What were the choices?
Forever Evil.
Yeah.
DC Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like mentioned some other ones too there. And I'm like, all of these are wrong, actually. It ended at DCU when they stopped putting New 52 on the cover. That's when it ended.
Yeah. I was going to say, it didn't end here of Forever Evil. That was like the midpoint.
Yeah, that was like the first big all-encompassing event of it. Like every book got taken over by Forever. I'm like, that certainly is not the end.
Yeah, DCU. Remember DCU?
I do remember DCU. We had Prez. It was very funny.
Prez, I think Prez and the Bizarro book that came out of that were probably the only two good things to come out of that. And I guess it brought us like the new Dr. Fate, Khalid, as well.
True. That's right. Black Canary was in a band.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin Percy started writing Green Arrow and then just kind of kept on chugging.
Yeah.
until DC Rebirth and everything. Here's the thing: people forget DCU because DCU was really short.
Yep. Yeah. Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Midnighter got a book during that time, actually.
He did. Yeah.
So that was a thing. But yeah, I thought that was funny. That's like, wow, James Tynion worked at the company at the time, and even he can't agree when the New 52 was done.
Well, I don't think anyone there could. I think Dan DiDio wouldn't be able to tell you.
No, he wouldn't. What is it? Gail Simone had like a great tweet thread where she talked about all her time working there and all the insight. And again, very, very funny, very personable, and very, very honest and everything too. Where she's like, no, a lot of us didn't know what was going on, but that was what made it fun too. We were all challenging ourselves to be the best writers we could be and have this all make sense.
And it didn't. Though.
A lot of the time it did. Apparently the line she was told and the line that they were all told was like, well, yeah, think of this as year one. Like, sure, Batgirl's not in a wheelchair yet, but she might be. And they're like, okay, I guess we'll write it like that then.
Write it like she's on her way to the wheelchair,
Yeah, shit, that ain't that's not something to get you. Yeah, shit, that's not something to make you sad. But yeah, so there's that news, everyone. We're getting more Long Halloween, even though we really probably shouldn't.
No.
And from sad news to sadder news, we also lost a entertainment industry great this week. A titan, Richard Donner, of course, the man responsible for, the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, passed away this week, and what a sad one.
Yeah, well, it was a sad one, but it was also probably something that was going to be coming soon anyway. The guy was like 91. He was 91, and he was still set to direct Lethal Weapon 900 or whatever the fuck number they were on.
Dude had a hell of a life and a hell of a career, like not even just the movies you know about. Like, I mean, come on, the dude directed episodes of Gilligan's Island and Perry Mason and Get Smart.
Yep.
And he kept working, like, yeah, fucking Lethal Weapon, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon, Maverick, Goonies.
16 Blocks just in 2006.
Yeah, that was a good film.
It was actually pretty good. It was pretty solid. Most Def. And again, old man director who never felt old in any of the stuff that he did.
Yeah, all of his stuff, like, usually in something like this happens and you get a director from like the 70s direct something newer. You're like, oh yeah, this guy, yeah, he still thinks it's the 70s. No, Richard Donner.
Him and like George Miller and Martin Scorsese just like defying the curse of age.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, rest in power, my dude. There, well earned after everything.
Now, did you see the story about like how he pitched writing Superman to the movie writer Tom Mankiewicz?
I did not actually, but I'm sure it's a good story.
He was trying to convince the guy, but Tom didn't want to do it because he's like, it's a comic book, it's silly. So Richard smoked a bunch of weed, got dressed up in a Superman costume, and invited Tom over to his house. And when he came over, he like ran out of the house in the costume, telling him to do it.
What a fucking bro, man.
Yeah.
Bro Donner, I love him.
And also, if it wasn't for him and his wife, we wouldn't have Kevin Feige or Jeff Johns.
It's true, yeah. They had some like big, like connections and everything. And also, like, I mean, shit, freaking Jeff Johns worked for him for a little bit.
Yeah, they both interned at the same time, I think, under him.
Crazy.
And then that led to like Kevin Feige doing like the X-Men films and like being a guy on those films, and then to what he is now.
Talk about a dude who had an eye for talent, am I right?
Yeah.
Basically, he helped, mentor the entire future of Hollywood and everything.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, again, like, his Superman film, like, that's, like, if we didn't have that, we wouldn't have stuff like the MCU that we have now.
It's true. Yeah, freaking,
because I think even Kevin Feige, like, he makes people watch Superman the movie, like, when they're making these films.
Which is a good movie to watch because it's like, hey, this was the first time they got it right and everyone loved it and it made money and got good reviews. What worked here so well and how can we do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So yeah, R.I.P. Richard Donner, you will be missed, but the legacy you left behind will be unforgettable.
Absolutely.
All right. said. And with that, I guess, because we were talking about movies and we were talking about the MCU and everything that he paved the way for, Black Widow came out on video on demand and in theaters, and we watched it. And we can actually talk about it now and do a real deal spoiler cast, like the kind we used to do. Back in the day, the long awaited Black Widow 2. I can say that it's finally here after like almost 2 years of waiting.
Yeah, well, yeah, someone actually like tallied up how many days like from when it was originally meant to release, and it was some ridiculous amount. It's like it got pushed back so many times.
As Callie in the chat says, X-Men, Hellions, and Extreme Carnage were great. Yes, they were this week. They were. There was a lot of.
I haven't read Extreme Carnage yet. That's on my list though. I got to read Venom 200 and Extreme Carnage again.
It's a lot of fun. Tell you what, Callie, if there's time at the end of our spoiler cast, Matt and I will just talk about books we liked this week that we think you should read. I know usually we do a spoiler cast instead of giving book recommendations for the week, but because we're actually making good time, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Black Widow, we're finally here now. It's a prequel movie set place at the end of Civil War, but before Infinity War.
Yeah, in that brief timeline when they're all on the run from William Hurt's character.
Ross. When Ross is up in the kiss. Yeah, when he showed up, I'm like, oh yeah, Ross. I forget that you're actually like a big fixture of these movies sometimes because I keep waiting for you to Red Hulk out, but you never do.
I don't know whether he will because he's got some charges against him. That actor. Yeah, it'll probably be someone else.
That's okay. Next time he shows up, he just is the Red Hulk. I'm different now. This is what I look like. Yeah, wouldn't be the first time the Marvel Cinematic Universe had to do that. Had to be like, hey, this is just me now. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do it so subtly you don't even know. But yeah, exactly. A brief bit of time in between movies that I think you could very easily, like, upon rewatch, when you're rewatching all these movies, you could very easily just, slip this one in between.
Oh, I'm going to be doing that, like, in my rewatch. I'm not watching this after, like, Endgame and stuff. I'm going to slot it in after Civil War.
Yeah, this is the first time where it's like, look, you can actually watch this one in like a bit of a messed up order. And yeah, you'll have the post-credit scene that doesn't quite line up with the others, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. I still think it actually fits very nicely. And again, I think prequel writing is one of the hardest things because it's like, well, why do I care? And, everything you do could possibly contradict something else. This one doesn't fall into a lot of the prequel problems.
No, not at all.
I'm very happy to say. Honestly, on my first watch through there, I was surprised, but I probably shouldn't have been, given the character, her backstory, and general demeanor. This one actually had a shocking amount of edge to it a lot of the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, like as you said, like giving who she is, like an assassin and a spy, you think that come with it, but like seeing it as well is like, oh, okay. Yeah, they're going there. They're going there.
It's one thing to hear about it. It's another thing to see it. And yes, the Captain Coon, next time Ross shows up, it'll be Sam Elliott. I'm totally cool with that.
I'm down with that, yeah. More Sam Elliott's fine.
They say there's a man, an Iron Man. Yeah, oh, hell, I done introduced him enough. That's what I want, Red Hulk with that folksy-ass calming voice. And I won't back down. But yeah, so we see that they add some new additions to Black Widow's origin story. It's not just that she was a Russian spy. It's not just that she was in the Red Room, but she lived in America for a little bit undercover with her family that is literally taken right out of that show, The Americans, which is itself taken directly out of real history. Like, that shit actually happened.
Yeah. Her family made up of Red Guardian, Alexei, and Melina, her mother, who's
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. I was going to say Madame Mask. They're there to disrupt some sort of institute called the North Institute because they were testing on like some brain chemical.
As we found out later, yeah. It's a bit of a mystery as to what exactly their mission was and what they were doing. But if you've ever seen a spy movie before, it's going to come back and be important. Man, the actress they got to play young Natasha, she was really good in like not only looking like a young Scarlett Johansson, but like nailing a lot of her affects too. she's not in the movie for like a huge amount of time, but I'm like, God damn, this like young actress is pretty great. I looked into it later. Apparently, that's Jovovich and the director's kid.
The guy who directed Resident
Monster
Evil.
Hunter. Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit, really? That makes
Yeah,
actually sense. Looking at her now, yeah, I'm like, holy shit, yeah.
yeah, that's a Jovovich. That's a wee little Jovovich Jr.
Which is funny because I think Mila Jovovich was meant to play Black Widow in like a 2006 film by David Hayter.
That's funny. That's really funny. Yeah, that kid, I'm just looking at her. It's like, man, so now that I know that not only is she like a really good actress, but also has like famous parents. Yeah, this isn't the last we're gonna see her. Also, too, as the chat says, yeah, now that we know that they lived in America for a little bit there, now we don't have to keep asking the question, why do you go back and forth between your Russian accent and your non-Russian accent?
Exactly, yeah.
Because we lived in America for our formative years, you see, which begs the question every other time I speak in Russian: is that the put on, or is American voice real voice? You don't know. I am a spy.
Yeah.
That's I can make fun of that all day, but the fact of the matter is, I don't know if you have this same problem, Matt, but British ass Ray Winstone trying to believe that he was Russian for a minute.
Yeah. Oh, I do like that. Like he kind of gave up on like he's
Yes,
Russian
he
in that
did.
one scene in Cuba, and then like when you see him later on in the film, he's just British.
Oh yeah, he just stopped. Like he literally just nope, not doing this anymore. Not putting on the Boris Badenoff voice. And I'm like, you know what? He's Ray Winstone. What are you gonna tell him? You gonna tell him not to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally fine. He lost the mustache, and with that, he lost the accent. In the
it went with it.
20 years.
Yeah.
What is it? Ray Winstone, General Dragon, or something.
Who gets mentioned in the Avengers.
Right. Is he a comic character? I feel he must be. I didn't look into this.
I don't know. I'm not too familiar with like stuff on like Black Widow's past or anything, just because I know it's always kind of changing.
It is. I mean, in fact, she's arguably one of the most retconned characters.
Yeah.
Like Captain America at least has the buffer of like being, frozen in the ice for all those years. Black Widow never had that, so they kind of had to invent shit on the fly. And in fact, they kind of do some stuff here with Red Guardian that's interesting that we'll talk about in a minute as it relates to the greater Marvel timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we see their mission go bad in the States and them having to retreat back to Russia. The family gets broken up and the two daughters get taken to the Red Room for further training and experimentation. And fuck me, that was pretty fucking harsh, wasn't it? They're showing
some human trafficking and everything to a surprisingly good cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah, exactly. Like normally I hate when they do like sad, like low-key versions of famous songs, but I'm like, no, here it actually kind of works.
Yeah, it fits perfectly. It's not some shitty Leonard Cohen song in a Zack Snyder film.
Yeah, like, okay, this actually kind of makes sense and everything too. And like, yeah, they're like, yeah, she lived a fucked up life, everyone, and became a fucked up person.
Yeah.
And this is how it happened. And I'm like, fair, if you're going to do an origin movie, this is how you do it. This also means that, she's probably the least jokey Marvel protagonist, as she should be. Yelena actually does more of the joking. And even when she jokes, it's like very dark. There's the bit that I thought was the funniest, and it's also the most fucked up joke, is the bit in the helicopter about hysterectomies.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
I'm like, wow, that's really funny and also super horrifying at the same time. I'm glad they didn't turn away from this. I'm glad they turned into this.
Yeah.
Likewise with Winstone's character, who again I feel like is an amalgamation of like several different shitheads.
Oh, he's like Harvey Weinstein, Epstein,
You saw it too,
but he kind of looks like him as well.
Yeah, he looks a lot like Weinstein, and he works behind his magical desk, and he sells and commodifies women and takes away their rights.
Here's the line, which I didn't like this line because it's cheesy as hell, and it's like the world has like an overabundance of girls, like it's like the most copious amount,
greatest resource.
Yeah, something like it's like a really crappy line, but like I'm like, yeah, of course someone like him would say that.
The way he says it is so wonderfully disgusting, where it's like, I don't know if this guy is the best Marvel villain. He's probably not, but he's definitely the grossest.
Yeah, very skeevy.
He's definitely the grossest villain. Also too, because this is a Disney movie, still we can't broach the topic of like human trafficking, sex trafficking, but it's like, come on, he's definitely abusing the girls too. Come on, I mean, just look at
Well,
him. That
I
is
I was waiting for the thing because like obviously like his daughter's like a big part of the film. I was waiting for a thing where we learned that like I mean we still could in like some future film where it's like, oh, that's not his daughter, that's like his favorite,
or
and he like
something like
keeps her as
that.
a daughter sort of thing. I'm like, I was waiting for that. It didn't go there yet.
That another thing too about the darkness of the movie here. So as we see more of Black Widow's origin, we get, the story finally on the big Budapest mission that went horribly wrong, where, her and Hawkeye took down the Red Room for the first time. And when given the choice, Natasha was willing to kill a kid.
Yeah, willing to blow up a child.
Wow. And yes, of course, they walk it back later and she feels bad about it as part of her character growth, la 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 la. But still, the fact that they let an Avenger go, yep, collateral damage, we're going to kill that kid.
To be fair, she wasn't an Avenger yet, and she was probably just fresh from like her Black Widowing sort of stuff. Yeah, so she'd still be in that sort of mindset. But yeah, it's pretty fucked up that they could go there, but it's also pretty cool that they can go there.
Absolutely, because if you're gonna do it for any character, you got to do it for her. Because if you stand off the edges of Black Widow, there's no point in doing it. You might as well have made a Hawkeye movie at that point.
Yeah.
Which then again, Hawkeye also had a fucked up backstory too in the circus of crime, and he also had an abusive father and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they go places here I was not expecting. We of course very early on in the movie meet Yelena, her spiritual sister and everything there, who was a Black Widow but got unblack widowed because of the dust, because the science dust.
Yeah, I like the explanation of like Natasha's generation of Black Widows were all like, it was all like psychological conditioning and brainwashing and stuff. But after like she escaped and probably some others escaped, they decided to change to like chemical like mind fuckery, where it's like actually changing chemistry in the brain, which makes like Yelena's generation like a lot more dangerous, because you can't just like convince them to like stop being it.
I appreciated that too, what is it making the difference? Because once you prove that one Black Widow can turn against us, like, well, why don't they all do it, right?
Yeah.
I like that too. Though they never explain, where it's like, okay, well, what was the story of that other lady that defected? Why did she do it? And where the size, it doesn't matter where it came from. This is total Jason Bourne bullshit where you start like pulling the strings on it and it all falls apart.
Yeah, they don't really explain the that serum stuff. They said, oh, it was developed in secret by like a Black Widow from the past. I'm like, oh, is that like set up to like, is that like going to be Yelena's like through plot, like,
or something through the story?
Is she going to go like find out more about this or something?
Maybe. I feel like maybe at some point, and maybe this is just my brain feeling like this now because we got like 3 Marvel shows in between. Did they write this like maybe this will be a TV show, maybe it'll be a movie? Because it feels like there was 1 or 2 things where it's like, oh, and this would have gotten its own episode if this was a TV show.
Yeah, I could see that.
There's like 1 or 2 things where it's like, see, and when we expand this to a TV show, this would have gone. And again, I don't want to think like that, but yeah, we've been so spoiled by 3 Marvel TV shows now where they can have more time to explore shit like that.
Yeah, well, and again, like being that it's like all a connected universe, they could still do that.
They could. They absolutely could. To be like, hey, it's still a movie, everyone. This is still how movies go. This is how plotting and all of that goes. So yeah, we meet Yelena fairly early on in the movie and everything. I think she's great, and I think we had to think she's great because this is basically her audition movie. It's the Black Widow solo movie, but it's also introducing us to the next Black Widow as well.
Yeah, and she's fantastic. I loved her. I thought she was great.
Fun.
Yeah,
she's kind of fun, different than Natasha as she had to be. She's a little drier because again, she's just now waking up to free will and everything.
Yeah. Well, again, this is like her kind of like a fish out of water, because now she can like think for herself, do all her own things. Like in the movie, like they make a big deal about like the vest she's got. Yeah, it's like the first bit of clothing she was able to buy herself.
Has lots of pockets. It's very fun.
Very practical. Yeah.
I was not expecting the vest to actually be given such a backstory too, because I'm like, hey, is that the vest that Black Widow wears when we see her when she saves Vince? I'm like, oh shit, yeah, it is actually. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is. It's pretty fun. So yeah, she's a lot of fun. Guardian David Harbour is just having a fucking
Oh,
blast in this
he
role.
like between him and Yelena, like they just steal the movie.
They really do. He is just hamming it up all over the place. I see some people, online who are harsher on the movie than I was, saying, "Oh, he had no reason to be here besides just comedy relief." And I'm like, "Yeah, and he's really good at the comedy relief, and the movie needed it, so he
Yeah,
did his job well."
yeah, yeah,
Also, too, him being here again, as I mentioned before, creates kind of an interesting time paradox that I wonder if we'll see them explore. Because Red Guardian talks about being, the Soviet super soldier. He definitely has powers. He talks about fighting Captain America, even though, as Ursa in jail, who is definitely Ursa Major, says, "Oh, that's impossible. He was in the ice at the time." So, what do we think? Is he just making shit up to make himself feel more important while
yeah.
in prison?
He is. He's totally making shit. Like that's something like a fucking Russian agent would do. I bested the fucking American Western power. Ooh, I'm big. I'm good
I'm
for
tough.
Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, he's making shit up, and like the whole
See,
time in the film, it's all about him. When he starts talking and everything. So
he's
yeah,
very self-centered. Yeah.
he's gonna big himself up.
See, and again, the chat just said it too, where it's like, yeah, was he making it up? Or is this because obviously, as we found out in Falcon Winter Soldier, there was other interim Captain Americas that just never worked out? Did he fight the other Captain America and just say that it was Steve, or is this them setting the groundwork for William Burnside, either in Captain America 4 or in some
Well,
other thing? Because obviously that Captain America was the commie smasher Captain America.
see, they've set him up so it can be either. It can be like
Right.
he's just making shit up, he's bullshitting, or then no, he was telling the truth. He fought William Burnside and he thought it was Steve Rogers.
Right. Which, man, that would actually be a very cool story for Captain America 4 if they wanted to do it, especially if Sam recruited him to help out.
Yeah,
I would like that a lot, actually, to see
yeah,
him come and hang out. Also, the fact that, like, their family was fake and everything, but he's very much into his fake wife.
yeah. I like that. Yeah,
They seem very much into each other, and it's like, oh, this family unit could have worked. And also that's kind of like the whole through point of Act 2, where they're all like reunited, this fake family, and them all coming to the realization where it's like, oh, these fake memories we have of all of us pretending to be a family are actually the happiest times we ever had.
yeah. They're the best times. Yeah,
Isn't that so sad and so messed up, and that none of us have really done much else?
yeah,
Again, I feel like family is kind of like a theme of all of the different Avengers movies, but here especially, where Black Widow's like, I ran away from these people and found a family and friends in the Avengers, and now I've come back and found them again, and now I have like two families essentially.
yeah. Well, yeah. Between her and Clint, they're the only ones with two families.
It's true.
Yeah,
As Callie says, the family reunion scene was my favorite.
yeah.
It's really good. You
It's
can
really
tell that
good.
was
Yeah.
It was. You can tell that was like the centerpiece of the movie, like more than any action scene. It's like we
Hmm.
need to get to this moment. This is what the movie is actually about.
Yeah, yeah.
And what is it? Red Guardian's whole like thing there of him being what is it? Trying to apologize, but him never being able to do it right. So at the end, he just stops trying.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was good. That was
I
nice.
I just screw it up. I'm like, that's a good character arc for him to be like, you know what? Sometimes people don't want to hear me talk. Sometimes I can just shut up.
Yeah.
I can just shut up there. I guess the other big villain of the movie, of course, and kind of a lightning rod for controversy, not unexpectedly. You and I basically said that people were going to have problems with this, more or less, when the first trailer hit, and it looked like there was going to be some sort of big unmasking. I'm talking about the movie's version of Taskmaster.
Yeah, that suddenly revealed that everyone's, hardcore Taskmaster fan and has been for years and
Shocking. Shocking.
even though beforehand no one ever gave a shit about him.
Yeah, you're such big fans of Taskmaster, they let Nick Spencer turn him and Black Ant into Beavis and Butthead. They definitely do that to characters people like and have respect for, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. The character who's never really held down a book.
Yeah, had a couple mini-series here and there, and I know there's definitely kind of a divide between, older fans and younger fans. Again, our friend Kurt, who I mentioned before, he's an older fan, and there definitely seems to be, like, Taskmaster as he was, like, 20 years ago, and
Mhm.
Taskmaster where he is now.
Yeah.
And again, in between that, like, a lot of nothing. The majority of Taskmaster stories I've read is where he's a loser.
Yeah, he's nothing.
He's a loser. He's a jobber. No one gives a shit about Anthony Masters, which is
No.
why, of course, they're not Anthony Masters in the movie. They're Antoni Drago, whatever. So it's the daughter, which you knew that was going to happen when you saw her blow up. I'm like, they're not going to let freaking Black Widow murder a child. That's who Taskmaster is.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's fine. The one thing I just don't get is that people had the problem that it was someone other than Anthony Masters, and I'm like, you guys can believe there's like multiple Spider-Men who aren't Peter, multiple Captain Americas, multiple Thors,
Black Widows.
Yeah, 2 Black Widows, but you can't believe that there will be more than one Taskmaster, really?
Yeah, come on. I mean, come on. I had total flashbacks to the Mandarin is what
Yeah,
this is the Mandarin all over again.
Absolutely. They don't understand it,
Which, hey, I think the Mandarin ended up pretty good, all things considered, how you got the Mandarin you wanted anyway. It was going to be the villain of Shang-Chi, so there you go.
Exactly, yeah. And who's to say Tony Masters won't appear? I like the idea, the theory I came up with is that it like kind of feeds back into that whole Harvey Weinstein sort of thing, where like his daughter wasn't really his daughter, and it was like Tony Masters' daughter, and she'd been like trafficked. And like now that her memory's back, she like remembers her real father and tries to seek him out or something.
And according to fans on Twitter, when I asked them, tell me anything interesting about Taskmaster, except for the fact that he has a skull face and ran a supervillain school at one point, apparently he does actually have a daughter. So there you go.
Yeah,
so
but that was the only thing anyone could ever tell you. No one could tell you anything else about him.
Our longtime fan Zeke was like, well, hey, one time he infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. by making him forget and giving himself amnesia. You know, the more I talk about it, the more stupid he actually sounds. For what it's worth, I enjoyed what they did with Taskmaster here. Again, it's a leg breaker villain. It's a heavy. It's it's odd job from freaking James Bond. I don't expect much. That being said, the action scenes they do are cool.
They are cool. I wish there were more of them.
Same.
They felt really cut down.
They did,
especially that Red Guardian fight. That felt really cut down.
And the fact that like they beat her, but they don't really beat her is the thing. They don't win a fight against her. They defeat her through other means.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about. I like that. Like for a lot of the villains, like Dreykov and Black and Taskmaster. Natasha defeats them not by using like guns and knives and stuff, but by using like subterfuge and like spy tactics and talking to them.
It's the perfect twofer because yes, it shows that Black Widow is intelligent and a spy and capable of skullduggery and everything else, and also she needs to do that because if she was able to just shoot the regular guy villain, the movie would be over.
Yeah.
I do love the bit where she's like, oh, pheromone lock. Oh, I'll just break my nose nerve so I can't smell anything. I'm like, oh, fuck, that hurts. I felt that. That looked really painful. Also, to her big fight against the other Black Widows, I'm like, oh, this is cool. This also could have been like a big fight at the end, if not a fight against Taskmaster.
Yeah.
It felt like they could have had one or the other, either have Taskmasters or just evil Black Widows.
Mm-hmm.
Also, too, even just their regular henchmen had, like, cool helmets.
Yeah, they were kind of, like, Taskmaster-ish, yeah.
Yeah, what was up with that? I like that. Are they the Skeleton Crew, maybe? Is that what we're going to call them? Are they Skeleton Crew troopers? But yeah, my favorite Taskmaster scene is when they're literally just treating her like the Terminator, when she just won't stop and keeps walking, when they're in the subway there and she's throwing the shield and she just like keeps coming and coming. I'm like, see, I wanted more of that.
Yeah, when like the chase scenes and stuff were fantastic. And yeah, it did feel like a lot was cut from like their storyline or something.
And again, maybe I'm spoiled, but if this was a TV show,
yeah, we'd get like a 2-parter episode or something.
We would have gotten a little bit more like that. I wanted more chasing. I liked the chasing. I thought it was really good. And of course the bit too where it's like, oh look, I'm doing the claw thing like Black Panther. I've got the bow like Hawkeye.
Yeah, I did the knife flip like Bucky and like all that sort of stuff. That's pretty cool.
That is cool. I like that they were referencing other movies. It feels rewarding.
Yeah.
And of course, it ties into a bigger story where, Black Widow needs to free her so, she can put away her sins from the past and everything and move forward. And also, too, that means that the Taskmaster for this movie wasn't really Taskmaster at the end, which means that anyone could probably pick it up.
Well, again, like, Taskmaster just sounds like a code name that they gave Antonia. So like, who's to say like we didn't have a Tony Masters in the 80s or something? You
They
know?
call it the Taskmaster program.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it seems like it was just like a version of like the Red Room that like was used to like mimic people's abilities and stuff. Like again, yeah, you could easily make it so that Tony Masters is there. I don't know why anyone's like getting so upset about all of this.
I know, it's such a silly thing. Again, it's like the Mandarin. It's a silly hill to die on. What else was I gonna say too? Oh god, where is my mind? I can't find it. Where did it go? Something. Oh, the costume. I know the costume was kind of controversial too because it didn't look like a Halloween costume like it does in the comics. I like it in action. I think it looks really good in action.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think if he had like Skeletor face, it would look silly.
Yeah,
like, but not silly in like the Loki original costume way. It would look like silly.
Ironically, it looks almost like a better Deathstroke costume than a lot of the Deathstroke suits we've gotten.
Little bit, yeah.
That's all I thought there with the sword and everything. I'm like, man, this Taskmaster's a great Deathstroke. Even to kind of what we're seeing with Bloodsport now, because Bloodsport in the Suicide Squad also kind of has like a skeleton face,
yeah,
but only like the bottom part and like a shiny chrome top.
Yeah.
What else was there in the movie that we liked?
Trying to think. Yeah, we talked about the family stuff. That was all good.
Not as many needle drops in the soundtrack, but they did pay for the rights to American Pie and worked it into the story, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's pretty good, where it's like, hey, a lot of these movies have big song budgets. Ooh, we just blew our song load in the first 5 minutes. Her little buddy too, her little gopher, who I think is also a character from the comics, from like the
Mason.
The guy the guy who doesn't work in comics anymore, but same deal. He was like her little buddy who would like just go and get her shit.
The one who like everyone thought was Taskmaster.
Yeah, but apparently not. Oh, yeah, I guess we got to talk about the post-credit, too. A post-credit that ties directly into the TV shows, actually, which answers a question that has been on our minds forever, and that is like, okay, are the movies just movies? Are the TV shows just TV shows? What feeds into the others? What happens there? So, what was the post-credit scene, Matt? What did we get going?
Well, it's post-Endgame, and Yelena is now working for Valentine, whatever her last name is. I can't remember what it is. Allegra, whatever.
Valentina, I can't help but call her Elaine every time.
Yeah, it's Elaine.
So Elaine is there.
Yeah, and she's continuing to make her, I guess, Thunderbolt squad.
Yeah, and Dark Avengers.
And she's got Yelena working for her already. Like it seems like she's working. Yeah, Elena's already been working for Elaine
for a while.
Yeah, and she sends her after Hawkeye because she manipulates Yelena into believing that Hawkeye was responsible for Black Widow's death.
Which, of course, begs the question, hey, how do you know that he was there and what happened up in space? I mean, well, I guess...
They probably don't know it was in space. There was probably a briefing, and Clint said, like, he got Black Widow killed. That's probably all that was said. They're not going to say, we went back in time to 2014 and went to some planet called Vormir and met some skull guy.
You know what it probably was? It's probably like he came back and she didn't, so it was easy enough to manipulate that.
Again, like people are just like, it's like, oh, how does she know all of this sort of stuff? She can't possibly know any of that. I'm just like, well, it's the simplest explanation. Again, as you just said, he came back, Black Widow didn't. She uses that information to manipulate Yelena.
Because Valentina is also a spy and a power broker and everything
just
else.
Just like how she manipulates John Walker into like believing he can be the new U.S. agent and the new Captain America and everything.
By telling him everything he wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Which, of course, begs the question then, man, that Hawkeye show is going to be stacked now because we got the second Hawkeye, we got Yelena, we got, the Clown, obviously, who's going to be the villain, the tracksuit Draculas, and, I guess Echo, too, who apparently they're developing an Echo show as well.
I told you that was happening.
You're right. You predicted the future.
Yeah, and apparently, like, there's rumors as well that U.S. Agent will appear in Hawkeye as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, because like the Thunderbolts are starting to form.
Right. Huh. Yeah, they're building quite the team, aren't they?
Yeah.
Also, you got to wonder because Abomination is going to be in Shang-Chi, will they pick up the Abomination?
Maybe. It's going to be in She-Hulk as well.
Yeah, you need a big Hulk guy, so why not?
Yeah.
You need a big guy, do big bad guy things. But yeah, so pretty solid. I would say. Also funny too. I guess would this movie have come out first before Captain America and Winter Soldier if it
Yeah.
had all come out the way it was supposed to?
Yeah, and I think that means the end credits was a reshoot.
Okay, because I was gonna say would this have been the first time we saw this character?
Yeah, because they don't introduce Val. Yeah, they don't introduce Val in that. Which if it was meant to come out before, they would have had to have introduced her in that. So I think it was a reshoot.
Right, because Falcon and Winter Soldier was also supposed to come out first before WandaVision, but did.
Yeah.
So that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so overall, pretty cool. The problem with talking about Avengers movies in general now is that you can really only compare them to each other.
Yeah.
At this point, I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a solid actioner. I thought it was definitely more Jason Bourne than James Bond, though ironically she watches Moonraker in the movie.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was good. And she knows like the words verbatim as well, which means she's like a James Bond fan.
Many a times, yeah. Which is so funny. I'm a real spy, but I watch fake spies.
that must like piss her off. It's like, no, you don't do it like that. You do it like this.
Kali again asking, you think Yelena could be an ally of the Young Avengers? I think she's a little old for the Young Avengers. Yeah. I think they're moving her up to main Avengers, and Young Avengers is going to be all the young people.
Yeah, I think she'll be an Avenger.
Yeah, no doubt, to help fill the void on this one. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I thought this was a solid actioner, very Bourne identity, especially in the beginning where it's like, hey, how much can we kick the shit out of these two women?
Yeah, through that apartment. That fight looks like really like vicious, like in terms of like to the stunt people, like throwing people through like windows and doors and everything and cabinets
they crash several cars.
Yeah.
Just blowing the shit out of them, just knocking the ever-loving hell out of them. And again, it works, and you needed to have this for this kind of movie, because if you didn't have this in a Black Widow movie, it's like, why the hell even make it?
Exactly, yeah.
I would definitely say I would watch this one again. There's certain Marvel movies where it's like, I wouldn't actively seek that out, or like, I'd watch it when it was on TV. I think I'd watch this one again.
Yeah, I like all the espionage stuff of the MCU, like with Winter Soldier and like Captain America films and this. And yeah, I definitely give it a watch again. The only real big problem I had with it is like a lot of the action scenes seem cut down, especially the Red Guardian versus Taskmaster fight. That seems to have suffered quite a fair bit.
I think the best thing I can really say about it too is that there's definitely a feeling of completion that comes along with it, where it's like, cool, now everyone has kind of been represented, and now the timeline of those Avengers movies now are all complete.
Yeah, I would like a sequel though with Natasha again, and you can do it. You set it in that 5-year. You get Natasha and Yelena back for that 5-year, because in that 5 years she was like leading the Avengers.
It's true.
And you could deal with like maybe her family gets snapped. Maybe Red Guardian and Melina get snapped out of existence. Maybe Yelena got snapped out of existence as well. Maybe that's why she thinks Natasha's dead. She like disappeared, come back, and Natasha's suddenly dead.
True. Here's my pitch for that one. Make it a post-apocalyptic movie. Have it be a Black Widow and Yelena traveling across the wasteland with half the population gone and everything.
That'd be pretty cool.
Can have Ursa Major be the villain there, because you already set him up. Why wouldn't you want them to fight a giant bear man who is also a Russian militant?
Exactly.
He's got like some stupid plan, like he's gonna like launch nukes and try and take over the world or something.
Yeah.
Because it's always something with these guys, isn't it?
Exactly.
Hell, by that point, they might have the X-Men movies up and running again. Have them fight Omega Red.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Have them fight Omega Red. That would be fun. Just
Omega Red and Ursa Major, and then bring in like Crimson Dynamo.
Oh yeah, which they name drop Crimson Dynamo in here, meaning that person did exist.
Yeah. Which means that, like, basic question, there was probably a Winter Guard like at some point during like the late 70s, early 80s.
That's what you call the sequel. You call it Black Widow: The Winter Guard, and it's in the 5 years there, and it's them having to fight the leftovers of the Winter Guard who want to take over what's
The
left
Winter
of the
Guard,
world.
try and use that fight, like all the population going to like bring back communism or something.
Or something like that. Hell, it would be a great place to introduce Red Widow to I'm the Red Widow.
Yeah.
I'm you, but better and more communist.
Yeah, and you don't see my face because it's hidden.
Also that. I'm going to seize the means of production by kicking your ass. And the workers will rejoice in the beatdown that I give you. I'm about to Trotsky all over you.
That's a good one.
Thank you. There you go. And that's all the communism Joel knows. trying to get more references in there.
Gonna Karl Marx you for death.
Oh, I like that too. That's also good. Oh yeah, I like that Bizarro critic, the second Crimson Dynamo. Hey, it's a whole Crimson Dynamo league. We're gonna take over the world with Russian war suits.
Yeah, built off the backs of like communist slaves in gulags or something.
Or something like that. Again, there's lots of places you could go with this. Heck, you want to be even weirder, say that the Black Widow movies are all prequels, go back even further, use the de-aging tech, and this one is just the Budapest mission with Hawkeye and her.
That'd be pretty cool.
We just make a whole movie out of that, because honestly, that's what I thought this movie was going to be when they originally pitched it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they mentioned it was going to be in there. Maybe it was meant to be again. Maybe it was meant to be expanded a bit. Like, maybe if it was on TV,
that would have been a flashback.
Yeah, flashback episode.
See, this is the thing. We're so spoiled by Marvel on TV now, and them having more time to flesh out ideas. We
can see like where the movies would be like, okay, and this is where like episode 1 would end, and then we'd have the flashback episode.
Yeah, which I guess that's like, just a ringing endorsement for the Marvel TV shows where it's like, yeah, it feels more like comics now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where you can tell these sequential stories in more time and have more time just for fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like all the Marvel shows do that, where it's like, well, this is just the fun episode.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one we have just for fucking around and having good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, maybe by that time Daredevil will be back too, and we can have a Daredevil and Black Widow story.
That'd be pretty cool.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met this blind lawyer from Hell's Kitchen. Oh, man.
He likes red too.
Yeah, we both do. We really get along. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much all there is to say, yeah?
Yeah. It was a pretty good film.
It was all right. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good, solid action. I'll tell you what, it felt like the action blockbusters that I've been missing, being the ones that they just haven't been putting out.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why this and like Fast 9 did so big, because it's like, oh yeah, no one's been putting out a movie like this. All the movies they have been putting out are like, important dramas and like big like studio tent poles.
And that's the thing, that the people want to go to the cinemas to see these type of films. These ones where like they send fucking ludicrous to space and like shit that people want to see that in the cinema. They don't want to see some period piece drama or anything, and it's very obvious.
Again, it's like, yeah, justify my $20 plus parking plus popcorn and everything else. I want to hear the loudspeakers. I want to see the boom booms, and I can't blame them for that. There may have been a time in my life when I have been a snobby film guy, and it's like, ooh, this is low class art. But now that I get older, I'm like, yeah, make me forget shit for a little bit.
Yeah, especially in these day and age.
Yeah. I want to see Scarlett Johansson kick the guy. I want to see her fuck up not quite Harvey Weinstein, but totally Harvey Weinstein. He's so totally Harvey. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
He freaking looks like him, man.
like literally, he's got a special desk where he controls it. Like, oh, where's the button that closes the door, Harvey? Where's that button? Oh, and as Jaden said, and Space Jam. Yeah, well, obviously, Space Jam is going to do bigger than all of these movies. That's how we know we'll be back and COVID will be defeated. Space Jam.
Do you reckon it will do bigger than that?
I don't know, actually. Now that
because I'm pretty sure it's out here.
Oh, really?
I think so. I think it's out here, but like, yeah, again, like I haven't really heard anyone like talking about it or anything, like going to see it or anything.
I will be interested actually to see how this new Space Jam goes, because like the first Space Jam was genuinely successful because they sold a shit ton of merch and everything else off the back of it.
Yeah.
I wonder, does anyone care? Did you see they got like a special Teen Titans Go thing tying into it? It's Teen Titans Go and watch original Space Jam, and it's literally just them MST3K'ing the original Space Jam movie.
Really?
It is. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Is like irony just caught up to itself in nostalgia to the point now where a new cartoon is getting all like up in arms, excited about a movie from like 20 years ago. And like for a lot of young kids, this is the first time they're ever seeing or hearing Space Jam through this cartoon. And it's all like a marketing ploy to get them excited for the new LeBron James. But I'm like, what is anything anymore?
Jesus.
What is anything? We need Teen Titans Go to have a whole special just to prime the pump for Space Jam.
Yeah.
So fucking crazy. And on that note, everyone, I think we can start winding the show down. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. This was a shorter one this week, but hey, you know, it's a return to form for us. We get to talk about a movie.
Hey, well, you say it was shorter, but it's still about 90 minutes, which is usually what we go for.
We will never try and give you under an hour of entertainment. That is, that's where we live. That is where we try and please as best we can.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. We hope you appreciate it. As always, if you're a patron, you'll get to see this first before anyone else for as little as $1 a month, $5 if you want video. It goes up on iTunes, goes up on SoundCloud, and everywhere else. Thank you, everyone who does the iTunes reviews. That really helps our searchability and everything. I mean, the podcast has never been the most popular thing we do, but we know the people who like it really like it.
Yeah, and thanks for all like the donations and everything.
Yes, absolutely. That means a lot to us too. Now that we get a chance to do this over here. So yeah, Matt and I will be back again next week with more goodness. Same Comic Multiverse time, same Comic Multiverse place on Twitch and YouTube. So until then, everyone, we'll see you later.
See ya.